Welcome to you. I want to introduce Darrin who sits on the CCO board and who is the chairman of Pittsburgh Leadership Foundation Serving Leaders, who will offer a further word of orientation for our morning.
Thanks, John. Welcome, everyone. We're really excited you're here at Jubilee Professional. I'd like to tell you a little bit about why Jubilee Professional was created, and I'd like to do that by telling you a story. Last weekend, I attended a memorial gathering for Fred Fedorov. And many of you know that, you know Fred as the president of Alcoa. Many of us know Fred as a friend and a mentor. And in so many ways, he was an elder statesman of Pittsburgh. And during that service, I listened to Reed Carpenter talk about how God first reached out to Fred, and from that point in time, he saw his world through a different lens. And then I listened to his granddaughter, Katie, talk about what kind of father and grandfather Fred was, how he never missed a game, how he wrote them letters to pass on his wisdom, how he asked deep questions about their life. Fred was a master of deep questions. And I listened to Fred's best friend, Bill Romer, talk about his corporate life and how he had such a major impact, not just at Alcoa, but on many boards across the city and beyond the city, and how he learned how to allow his faith and his convictions about justice to impact corporate policy. And so there's corporations all over the city and all over the country who have different corporate policies because of Fred's faith. I also listened to Leslie Braxic talk about Fred's engagement in the community life through many nonprofit involvements. Fred and Fran, for those of you who know them, poured their life and their resources into organizations like Imani and FAME and the Pittsburgh Fellows. For me, Fred was a picture of what it means to be a fully engaged, high-impact leader in his family life, in his work life, and in the community. And he did that in a way that was completely integrated with his faith. Fred was a difference maker. And this is why Jubilee exists. We're here to equip, connect, and mobilize difference makers for the kingdom of God and for the good of the city. And as John already mentioned, we acknowledge that things are not the way they ought to be, but we also acknowledge that we have a role to play right where we've been placed, the place we spend every day, whether that's in our family life, our work life, or in our community life. We have a role to play as an agent of shalom to help make things just a little more the way they ought to be. So at the end of the service last weekend, Leslie made an astute observation. She said, Fred has left us some big shoes to fill. He's passed his baton on. And so that's a big job. And I think that part of what we're doing here today is to take that responsibility seriously and step into Fred's shoes.